One of those things looks like it might be, and I don't believe this has been confirmed, so don't get too excited, but it might be that Becky is on the show. Becky wasn't, I don't believe she was on Raw last night. I don't remember her being on Raw last night, but she did make the comments at Payback that she might see Tiffany Stratton on Tuesday. Now, we know how these superstars tease things and then it doesn't actually come to fruition. But yeah, this is definitely something that could go down because there are big rumors that Becky and Tiffany are going to engage in a feud. They are going to be starting a feud, and that Becky could be coming down to NXT. If we get Becky Lynch tonight, that will be huge. That will be a big deal because Becky is a big star. There's not many people that I think can like really move the needle. I think that Becky is one of those superstars that could move the needle. We saw a big spike in ratings when Seth went down to NXT. Obviously, he did defend his world title down there, though, against Bron Breakker. Becky doesn't have a world title to defend, but she could be trying to win an NXT title that she's never won. That could be really interesting. That could be really interesting. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what we're going to do there. We might not get it tonight, though. But there's been a lot of little teases that Becky could be coming down. And, of course, we've been seeing Tiffany Stratton at Payback, at Raw. We've seen her, confronting Becky. So it's clear that they're planting some seeds. So we'll have to see kind of what comes of that. We've got Ilja Dragunov against Oro Mensah. We know that we've got that match. We got Bron Breakker taking on Von Wagner. That's going to be a match that's no DQ. So we've got that tonight. And we've also got Dragon Lee taking on Mustafa Ali with Dirty Dom as special guest referee. So Dirty Dominic Mysterio, special guest referee for this match that's coming up today. So I think that's everything that I've seen. I don't think I've seen anything else get announced yet. Obviously, we'll keep our eyes peeled. But again, NXT doing a really good job at the moment. Really looking forward to the episodes. Even if nothing had been announced, I'm really just enjoying NXT. So I'm sure whatever we get is going to be a lot of fun. I want to jump into the chat and try and chat to people as quickly as possible, because we always run out of time before the show starts. Wrestling God said, will you stream UFC 293 on Saturday? Yes, definitely going to look to do that. In fact, I'll make a note to set that stream up. I'll set that stream up for Saturday, because that's a big stream. That is Israel Adesanya in the main event, but that is the plan for Saturday. Can't wait to see what Bron Breakker does, says Michael. Ian said, do you think Becky will show tonight? Well, do you know what? It's a really good question to ask. Will Becky show up on NXT tonight? Will Becky show up tonight? Yes or no? We've got the poll in the chat. Suzanne said, I know you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but I did not know this. Bray's first wife divorced him because he was having an affair with JoJo. He spent money on her instead of his kids. That's... I know that, well, I don't know the ins and the outs of it, but I know that his first marriage ended and he moved on to a relationship with JoJo. I was under the belief there was some crossover there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the ins and the outs of it. I don't know quite if he was having like a sordid affair, or if that marriage had already started to like break down and they were living apart, or anything like that. But I believe there was some crossover there. Yes. But no, it's tricky, that one, isn't it? Tricky. Because if that relationship, if he'd have cheated on her, then that's obviously bad. Of course, that's bad. But if it was a case that relationship was failing and they both knew it was failing, then that becomes a different situation, doesn't it? Kian said, Daze, I hope you are well and have a good stream. How has your day been? Day's been all right, man. Day's been all right. Just been tweaking some graphics and doing a few things for the channel. You might have seen that the thumbnails are kind of starting to get a bit more uniformed. Kind of like them. I think they look pretty good. But I like the fact that it's giving like the channel a bit of an identity. Because all the thumbnails are just completely different depending on the video we're doing now. At least we're starting to get a bit more uniformity. So yeah, I'm liking that, and that was it really. Just been working on that. Did the video, of course, for the review. So I had a lot of people saying they enjoyed the ups and the downs. So we look at what culture's ups and downs and we like react to them, but it allows us to talk about the show as well. It's just a good structure. It's just a good way of like going, okay, they've said this is a down. Do we agree? We can like bounce off it. So I like that. I think it sparks a conversation, and I think it's interesting because you're getting a few perspectives. You're getting what culture's perspective of, well, they think this. And then, you know, do we agree? Do we not agree? Reasons why. I think it makes for quite an interesting video. So we were doing a couple of those over on the other channel, and I was getting people saying, yeah, I like these. I hope you're going to keep doing them. Well, what we've done is we've kind of redone them a little bit and brought them to this channel, the main channel. So yeah, we're going to look to keep doing those. Did it for Raw, did it for Payback, going to do it for NXT as well. So they'll always be out the next day though, because obviously I want to see what culture say with their ups and downs and then respond to that, bounce off that. So yeah, that's not something that will be out like tonight. But at least it means that there's another video that hits the channel like the next day. So yeah, my focus has been on that, to be honest. I've been really focusing on what kind of content needs to be made, what it looks like when it comes out. That's just a constant. No, I feel like I've been doing that for years. So yeah, just pretty standard day, really, all things told. Kashawn said, do you think Authors of Pain will help Bron Breakker beat Von Wagner in the no DQ match? I don't think so. If Authors of Pain are on the way, and I haven't seen if they're 100% signed, to be honest. I mean, they could be. The report might be, yes, they're signed, they're coming back, they're coming in. They were on the main roster when they were let go, though. So, I don't know, maybe you put them back in NXT, give them a new gimmick, or just, like, you know, reintegrate them and then bring them back up. Or do you just put them straight onto the main roster? Because, you know, a lot of people that were released went straight back to the main roster, like, you know, Emma, Karrion Kross. They went to the main roster. I think Dexter Loomis, he came back. He went straight to the main roster. So, I don't know. Authors of Pain were main roster before they were let go. So, will WWE look at that and put them on the main roster? Or would they put them back in NXT? If I was to guess, I would say main roster. I would say that if you are bringing in the Authors of Pain, it's because you want to strengthen your tag division. You feel like you need to strengthen your tag division. You need another team in there. So I don't think you would then go and put them down in NXT. So I am going to say that they go to the main roster first. But I've got nothing to base that on. WWE Liv Morgan fan said if Becky does show, she wouldn't want to try and cost Tiffany the title because she would obviously want the title. Yeah, I mean, she could show and confront Tiffany after. I mean, I really don't expect Kiana James to win the title here. I don't think anyone does. So really not expecting that. So could it be a case that Becky shows up and confronts Tiffany afterwards? Like, I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, I agree. I don't expect her to cost Tiffany the title because I think we're building towards Becky versus Tiffany. Jody said, do you remember the very first wrestling match you saw? Who was it? Jody, shout out to you. I can't say with 100% certainty, but I feel like I do remember. I think that it was the Head Shrinkers versus Owen Hart and Coco Beware. The reason why I say that is because I think the first show I ever see is Survivor Series 1992. That show, stands in my mind as the first show I ever saw. Had I have been watching wrestling before that point, it would not have been too long after SummerSlam. Like, I'm sure had I have been aware of wrestling or had been watching wrestling, I would have heard about SummerSlam 92. But the God's honest truth is, I did not hear a single thing about SummerSlam 92. SummerSlam 92, one of the most famous events, took place in the UK. I was young at the time. I was their target audience, but I never heard a single thing about it. So I'm fairly confident I did not watch wrestling when SummerSlam 92 was taking place. In fact, I'm adamant I didn't. The problem for me was when I was growing up, and it's kind of hard to explain it to kids now, like they probably wouldn't understand. But back in the day when I was a kid, if you didn't have Sky or, you know, Fox or whatever channel it's being shown on, like you just weren't watching the shows. There was no YouTube. There was no mobile phones. There was no internet. There was no catch-up television. There was no way of watching the show. The only way you could watch the show would be to watch it live or catch one of the replays. And if you didn't have the channel that it was being shown on, you didn't watch the show. There was no highlights. There was no way of watching it. There was no social media. There was no Twitter or Facebook. There was none of that. Like, it's like a different world. It was like a different world. And I did not have those channels. Those channels were expensive. We didn't have loads of money. So we didn't have those sports channels. So I was not able to watch Raw. I mean, Raw wasn't even on when I was... That's crazy, isn't it? When I was watching wrestling, Raw wasn't even on. So I wasn't able to watch WWE's programming like Superstars or All American Wrestling or Primetime Wrestling. Those would have been the shows that would have been on at the time. I didn't have access to those. I couldn't watch those. And so I was just getting pay-per-views. That what I was getting was my cousin would record them on TV on a VHS tape. He would leave them at my nan and granddad's house. I would go pick up the tape once in a while, take it home and just hammer this tape. So the only things I was seeing were the pay-per-views. And don't forget, back then you had Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. That was it. That's what you had, basically. So I remember the first tape I remember watching is Survivor Series 92. Survivor Series 92 is the first tape I remember my cousin recording for me and leaving at my nan and granddad's. And then, of course, I'm in. I think my cousin was watching it and we watched it together. I mean, I was in. I was hooked, as you know. But it wasn't necessarily that match that hooks me. I think you just sit, first time you watch it, in complete awe at everything. Like, you've got these colorful teams, you've got this big crowds. It's like a sporting event, but you've got these characters and they've got like these big personalities, and you've got the ring gear and the entrances and the entrance music, and you've got obviously the wrestling, and you're watching that and you're like, oh my God, and there's a winner and a loser, and then you go on to the next match. The one that really resonated was, I remember Undertaker's match resonating. I believe he faced Kamala, and I think it was a casket match as well, a coffin-like match. I mean, and the other one that really stuck with me was Big Boss Man versus Nails. So you had a police officer, a prison guard, taking on a prisoner, and for me, I'm a kid, and I'm like trying to get my head around, is this what they do in America? Like, what is this like? You couldn't even fathom it as a kid. Like, what is this? Why is the prison officer fighting the prisoner? And the other thing was, whoever got the nightstick first could use it. So, like, you've got a prisoner who might get this nightstick and might be able to start beating up the prison officer. I mean, as an adult, you would look at that and you might go, oh, this is cringe. Right? You might go, this is cringe. What are we doing? Right? As a kid, it is just, oh my God. the most amazing things that you have just ever seen. I have got such a soft spot for Survivor Series 92. And you know what? I don't think it's a show we've gone back and done a watch along for. I don't think it's a show that we've revisited. And I would love to revisit it. That is absolutely, I'm sure, feel free in the chat, put in the show that you've got that soft spot for. It might not be a great show. Other people might say it's trash, it's rubbish, right? But you just can't help having like a real deep emotional connection to it. I'm not saying it's your favorite show, but it's one that, it's special. It means a lot to you. And that would be Survivor Series 92 for me. That would be that for that reason. It's the first one I remember watching. And, you know, it's such a weird show as well. It's so strange. It's such a strange show because it's a Survivor Series that I don't think it might have one. It might have one, but I can't even really remember it, to be honest. I don't know that it's got a Survivor Series match on it, but something in my head is saying there was one. There was one that was on it, but yeah, a Survivor Series with pretty much no Survivor Series matches. Bossman against Nails with a nightstick match. First one to get it can use it. Undertaker against Kamala, which I believe was a coffee and casket match. Main event was Bret Hart against Shawn Michaels 5 years before the Montreal Screwjob. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels in what has got to be one of their kind of lost matches from their rivalry. You know, when you talk about that rivalry, you can talk about Montreal, of course. But the fact they faced off at Survivor Series 92 just never gets spoken about. Never gets spoken about. And that show was meant to see the Mega Maniacs. It was meant to be Macho and Ultimate Warrior, but Warrior would get released. And so Macho ended up having to get a new partner who turned out to be, I think, Mr. Perfect. And so it was Macho and Perfect against Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. And that was kind of billed as the real main event, really. But yeah, it was crazy, man. First match, Head Shrinkers against High Energy. Pretty fun match if you think about it. You know, Owen Hart could, you know, go. And obviously Head Shrinkers are Anoa'i. So, you know, you're talking about Fatu, who would go on to become Rikishi. Samu, and they were the Head Shrinkers. Probably a team that don't get enough love, actually. A team that probably we should look back on. And do you know, actually, there's an early Raw in 93 where it's Bret Hart versus, I believe, Samu. Is it Fatu or Samu? It's one of them, of the Head Shrinkers. It's really good. It is really good. And the other one comes down and gets caught up in the ropes, but gets caught in the ropes by his neck. And he's like being choked out on the ropes in the background. And it's like, you know, one of those where it's proper carnage. Like you've got the tag partner getting involved. You've got, I think Afa was at ringside. He was obviously getting involved. So Bret was right up against it, having to like not just battle one of the Head Shrinkers, but the other one as well, and the manager. It was a really fun early Raw match. So yeah, a bit of a hidden gem, that one. So long answer, but the truth, and one that I've got a real soft spot for. Miss Clown said WrestleMania 9, it's not good, but that is mine. I can understand that. I feel that way about WrestleMania 9. That was the first WrestleMania I got to watch, not live, but just very quickly after the event had finished. And the theme of it, I think if you're a kid, WrestleMania 9 works. I think if you're an adult, it does not, right? If you're an adult and you're looking for like great matches, great stories, great wrestling, all that stuff, that WrestleMania 9 ain't for you. If you're a kid, you know, it's a toga party. You've got Bobby Heenan coming on out on the back of a camel. You've got kind of all the big stars you would want to see. You know, Hogan's there. You got a shock ending as well. You know, you never know what's going to happen in WWE type thing. And, you know, the show starts off with Tatanka versus Shawn Michaels, I believe. And match is all right, actually. Match is all right. I remember Sherry was there. Luna Vachon was there. Giant Gonzalez, when you're a kid, is impressive. So him against Undertaker has got a big fight feel to it. Yeah, oh God, I think there's quite a bit about that show that you can, if you're a kid, go, yeah, I like this, I like that, I like this. The two doinks. I mean, as a kid, Doink's just amazing. So the two doinks in his match against Crush. But yeah, I totally get that if you're an adult, like you'd look back at it and go. Mike said Saturday night main events in the 80s. Some great Saturday night main events. I haven't actually caught up with them, but I think it was Bossman against Hogan one, and obviously famously, well, was it a Saturday night or a Friday night? You had Hogan and Andre, the rematch, didn't you? Something in my head says that I don't know that was Saturday night. It was a main event, and it was called main event. I don't know if it was a Saturday night main event, but that's the one that got the highest. And I wonder if it's still the highest TV rating for a wrestling match. Hogan Andre rematch from 88. Guessing it was early 88 would be my guess, because it's that match that leads to the tournament at WrestleMania 4, isn't it? So it's a screwy finish. Andre gets the title. He then surrenders it to Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. WWE say you can't do that. You can't just hand the title to someone. So you basically forfeited it. And so as a result, the title is up for grabs, and then we get a mini tournament at WrestleMania 4. For me, it's either WrestleMania 18 or Survivor Series 2001, said Jamie. Mike said the first Royal Rumble, it was free on the USA. 88, I think that one. That's an interesting one, because I didn't know there was one in 88. I thought the first was 89, and for the longest time, I was under the impression Big John Studd was the first Royal Rumble winner. So when it's one of those, I don't know if I got into an argument with someone over this. It definitely was one of those moments where it's like questions like, who won the first Royal Rumble? And you go, Big John Studd. And they're like, no, it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You go, no, it wasn't. Big John Studd. It was Big John Studd. And you're like, it was definitely, I saw it. It was Big John Studd. And then it turns out that there was a 1988 Royal Rumble that wasn't a pay-per-view, that I had never seen, didn't know existed. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan had won that one. So, yeah, that's... I think that... I can't remember which one the Jumping Bomb Angels is on, but Jumping Bomb Angels against Glamour Girls for the women's tag titles, that was either 88 or 89. Damn good match. Damn good match. Again, oh man, I do enjoy going back to some of the old school wrestling. I appreciate, though, there's probably going to be a lot of people that are not too bothered about this and want to talk about NXT instead. So feel free to put whatever you want to put in, and we'll just go where the conversation goes. We got 25 minutes till NXT starts anyway, so. Wild said, is there a superstar as a kid you thought was going to win the IC title that never did? A superstar as a kid you thought would win the IC title but never did. To be honest, that's not really how wrestling worked for me. So the way that wrestling worked when I was a kid, really for the first few years, I mean, we're not talking a short time, we're talking years, was I would get those videotapes from my cousin. It wasn't like I got into wrestling and so my parents got the Sky channels. Like, we just couldn't afford it. So I was having to rely on the videotapes. So really, I was keeping up with the product through videotapes. And of course, once my uncle knew I was really into it, he would try and record some Raws and other bits. But by and large, you know, he was just giving me the pay-per-views, you know. So I was just getting like a Rumble on a VHS tape. I was getting a WrestleMania 9 and all that kind of stuff. And it was the most exciting thing. I knew the shows were coming. And so I obviously would, you know, are you going to record them? Can I get them? Blah, blah, blah. You know, I might get the odd tape that would have a few Raws on or a few whatevers. But really, I was mixing that in with like trying to catch up on the old stuff as well. So I'd go to Car Boots and I'd buy old videotapes. So I was filling my time. I wasn't really just consumed with the current product as it was, you know. It's not like I was sat at home thinking, oh, I really hope this person gets booked like this or this person gets booked like that. To me, I was just trying to get as much wrestling as I could. And so, you know, I was watching old SummerSlams, old WrestleManias, old Rumbles, videotapes from a car boot, like 50p each. Like, that was no problem to pick up those each week. So I was just trying to get as much as I could. And I was trying to, like, learn about, like, how we'd got to where we had got. And so I was fascinated in, like, just learning that stuff. So I wasn't really spending my time worrying about, like, will this person become Intercontinental Champion, or will this person achieve this, or will this person do that? I didn't really spend my time doing that. That kind of worrying about, or not worrying about the future, but, like, I don't know, it's weird. I think what we do now is, it's not what I was doing when I was a kid. Like, when I was a kid, I was just watching and just watching the stories unfold. And of course, you had people that you rooted for, and you had people that you wanted to see succeed. But that didn't really warrant itself as, like, I hope they win the IC title, or I hope they win the Rumble and go to WrestleMania, or, you know, that kind of stuff for me. It was just, I was watching it, consuming it, like, yeah, brilliant, right, now let's go back and watch the older stuff, you know? So the one answer I can give you, I can't give you any Intercontinental, because that just wasn't the way it worked for me. But the one I remember really wanting as a kid, the one that I really hoped would happen and I would see it happen. And you know, once I tell you it, it's going to be really obvious and it's going to make a sense as to why I would want it. But it was Bulldog, British Bulldog. I remember watching Davey, and I could not believe there was someone from the UK, from England, that was in this world. I could not believe. I'd never heard of WWE. I didn't know much about America. So, like, I couldn't believe that someone had gone from the country I live in over to America and was doing this thing and was part of this thing. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I thought this person, I would have heard about them. You know, I would have read about them in the newspapers. I would have seen them on TV during, I don't know, chat shows. I thought, like, I would have found out about this person, but I'd never heard of him. And so I remember being like, we've got someone from this country that's doing this as well. Like, and I remember thinking, like, I really hope he can become WWE champion. I really wanted him to win the WWE championship, because that's like the British Bulldog being WWE champion. That would have been a big deal to me as a kid. And so the one thing I really remember above all else when it comes to wanting something is it Rumble 95, where it looks like Bulldog has won it, but Sean skins the cat, I think maybe for the first time. He's actually held on, and then he gets himself back over the ropes, goes over, nails Bulldog from behind. Bulldog gets eliminated, and Sean wins the Rumble. That one it's one of the only examples I can think of me being young and being gutted, really gutted by something that's happened. Really, when you're watching something from the past that's happened in the past, I don't know that you get, like, gutted about things that have happened because they've happened. They've been and gone. Like, that's the past. So I would watch old tapes, and I wouldn't necessarily be rooting. I suppose I'd want Warrior to win, and whatever. I hope the Warrior wins this one. But it's different to, like, really wanting, I don't know, like Chad Gable to win last night or whatever, right? On Raw or whatever. It was more just watching it and enjoying it, and just, you know, I'd have a drink, I'd have some food, I'd sit back, and it was probably a much healthier way to watch wrestling. Just don't analyze it, just watch it, enjoy it, you know, that's it. And honestly, I think it was such a better way of watching wrestling rather than, you know, if there's a botch calling out, or they've just botched that. I don't remember seeing a botch as a kid. I don't remember seeing a botch. A botch wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. There was no botches. There were, if you go back now, there were, but because I was believing what I was watching, they weren't botches. They were just people trying to beat the other person, and you know, they slipped in the moment of fighting, or they've, you know, whatever, like they've gone for a move, it's not quite come off, but it was all part of them trying to win the match. And so you didn't view it as a botch. It was I remember when I, like, you know, I was getting older and starting to hear about botches and people pointing out the mistakes more. I remember thinking, like, why have people started messing things up now? Like, you know, why are people getting things wrong now? And it's like, they got things wrong in the past, but I wasn't viewing it that way. Like, it's so hard to explain kind of what a different headspace I was in when I was a kid, when I was watching wrestling, compared to like how I watch it now. And I think how a lot of people watch it now, you know, it's there, like now it's a lot more there to be critiqued. It's all about rating the matches out of 5. It's all about rating the shows. It's all about critiquing the creative direction. None of that existed when I was a kid. None of that was a thing. I didn't watch any match and score it after. I wouldn't even think to do that, right? I wouldn't even think to do that. When it came to like rating a show or something, I never did that either. But obviously you had shows you enjoyed watching, and some you were like, you know, not as much happened in that, or the results I wasn't really as bothered about, you know, like the people I liked didn't win on that one, so like not really as bothered about that show. Whatever, like but I wasn't ending as a kid going, I think that's an 825. I think that's an 825. Like that just wasn't a thing when I was young. So it's very hard to explain to kids. Very hard to explain like how different it was watching wrestling back in the day. But I would not want to watch wrestling any other time than when I watched it. Maybe I could have gone back a couple of more years, you know. Early 90s. Maybe I could have gone back to like late 80s, something like that. I think if I'd have gone back before WrestleMania, for example, like that, I don't even think I could have. I don't know quite how I would have watched WWE before WrestleMania. I think it was very America, Northeast. I genuinely don't know if it was even being shown in the UK. I don't think it was. I think the odd match may have found its way onto World of Sport on ITV, but I wouldn't even feel confident confirming that. I really wouldn't feel confident. I just heard a story that they did show Bruno Sammartino during World of Sport, so I think there was something going on there, but I don't have much confidence in saying that. If it was the odd match. So I couldn't have gone back much further. I couldn't have gone back, I reckon, like 87 is probably when it starts being shown on TV, or 88, and I got into it in 92. So I couldn't have really gone back much further than I did. But to have watched it before the internet, I think was perfect. So much better. I so much better. It was. People will say, was it more enjoyable? It's hard to say, because like you're in a completely different headspace. Completely different headspace. It's I suppose in a way it's like, when you believed it was real, was it more enjoyable than now, where you know it's scripted? Like, it's kind of like asking that question. Like, you still enjoy it now. Like, you still pop for like Gunther, Chad Gable. You still root for Sammy or Cody or whoever you're rooting for. You're still getting behind LA Knight or wherever, even though you know it's scripted. So it's not like it's, you know, you don't enjoy it or anything. But it hit different, didn't it, when you thought it was real? It hit different. And that's the only way I can kind of explain watching wrestling in 2023 compared to watching it in the early 90s. It hit different. It hit different. Coach Co said, I farted on Daze's glasses. Let's go. Let's go. Please send a video of that over to Tommy Toy Travels, who I believe is into those things. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Wrestling Escape Pod. There was some big questions that came out of that episode. Triple T didn't really want to go into details, but I feel like I do need to put a bit of a PG warning on this week's Wrestling Escape Pod. Coach Co, shout out to you. Kian said, as Jay is now part of Raw, who do you think could he face first to start his very first feud as a single star? I think Drew or Dominic. Who do you think Jay should feud with as a single star? Well, he is a face. I think that his first feud should have a reason, purpose. I think one of the easiest things would be someone that feels anger towards him because of what he did when he was in the bloodline. Problem there is that this person would now need to be a heel. So I actually don't know off the top of my head, someone that feuded with Roman and the bloodline when they were a face that have now since turned heel that could go after Jay if they're on the roster. I don't know if that person exists, but that would be the easiest, most simple story to tell. Logical, it would make sense. Someone that was a face that got cheated at the time, that's now a heel, and they go after Jay. You could go in that direction. If you can't do that because that person doesn't exist, maybe, then have someone like Sammy in Trouble. Sammy in Trouble with Jay making the save. That would be pretty cool. And that would, I think, get people like, in the right headspace. We know that Jay and Sammy are pretty close. It'd be nice to see Jay do something for Sammy. So I would go in that direction. And to be honest, it could be anyone. I mean, it really doesn't need to be like a big name. It doesn't need to be a Drew or anyone like this. It can be anyone. And maybe you do want to go a little bit lower down the pecking order. Like maybe you do need it to be a bit of a Miz or a Dolph Ziggler or, something like that. Just because Jay's on his own for the first time. So he's, I know he's been on the roster a long time, but God, it's different being on your own, He's just been in the bloodline with Roman and all of those. All throughout his WWE time, he's had his brother next to him. He does have a bit of experience being main event Jey Uso. But I don't know that you want to throw him in with some big Drew McIntyre type names straight out of the gates. I might just go another level down from that first. But, I mean, first of all, it needs to be a heel. Drew, at the moment, isn't a heel. And also, Drew feels like he's about to get started in some sort of program, maybe with Kofi. They're obviously teasing something there. So, yeah, name-wise, it would be a bit tricky. I think it would be more about, as I said, finding the right person. So someone that feuded with Bloodline that then turned heel and has got an axe to grind, or someone that's kind of a mid-card kind of heel that could go after Sammy and then Jey Uso makes the save. Elk Sean said, speaking of America, what's the reason for the red, white, and blue banners? Because go America. That's what I say. Happy Independence Day. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy President's Day. To all my American friends. The main reason is because we put this up for Great American Bash, and I've not took them down or changed them. That's the real reason. But to be honest, I like having something up in the background. I've got like some banners on the other ones, and I don't want to just use the same banners. So we could definitely change them to something else. But I kind of like these banners. Kind of like them. I think they look good. And I don't have any ill feelings towards America. I'm a pro USA guy, as you know. So yeah, I don't mind. Maybe I could alternate it with like America, UK. Maybe chuck in Canada one for our Canadian friends. Maybe like alternate them. But to be honest, I didn't even make these. I just got these from Google Images. So yeah, truth is they went up for Great American Bash and then they just stayed there. Bonkers said SummerSlam 91 jailhouse match, Big Boss Man against the Mountie. Dark Angel said, when I was a teenager, staying up all night was a lot more fun than it is now in my 40s. Do you know what, right? I think when you're it's funny because I was thinking about this. When you're a kid and you stay up all night to watch a show or whatever, it is so magical. Like, I know that sounds weird, but it's so something that you're not meant to. You're meant to be asleep. Meant to be asleep. Not meant to be up at this time. There's something weird about knowing that all your friends, your family, your neighbors, everyone around, they're all in bed. Like, you really feel like there's only a few people in the country that are up at that moment. I mean, clearly it's going to be, I don't know, probably 1 million, 2 million people are probably up at that time. Because obviously you've got people in hospitals and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't feel that way, does it? When you're in a room and you're watching like TV and, you know, everyone else on the street is in bed and everything, it does feel, I'm going to use the word magical. It definitely feels different, whatever. But as you get older, like, yeah, it doesn't quite hit the same, does it? I still do get that feeling of like, oh, shouldn't be doing this. I'll never lose that. I think it's because it's there from when I was young. It's like I don't know. That seed was planted when I was young about like staying up all night. That I think even though I'm an adult, I do still have a degree of that of like, oh, someone's going to tell me to go to bed. So even though I've been doing this for like years and years and years, staying up all night to watch the shows and everything, there is still a little bit of it that lives there. But yeah, it's not the same. Wrestler Andy said, Days, back in the 90s, even getting WWF magazine was so much more exciting than you could describe today. That's true. It's true. Do you know what? That is the problem with, or one of the problems with the world that we live in now, is that because you've got instant access to everything and anything. I mean, even products, the fact that you can order stuff off Amazon, whatever, and it comes the next day. I mean, it's just unfathomable. When you were as a kid, you had to like keep your fingers crossed when you went to the shop if they had it in stock, and if they didn't have it, you weren't getting it, or it would be ordered and you'd get it in a week or something like this, right? None of this order it today, it's going to arrive tomorrow. None of that. So it was, yeah, for you to go to the shops and come back home with really anything wrestling was, yeah, you know, a magazine. Oh my God. A magazine full of information, pictures and all this stuff. Oh my God. Amazing. Yeah, I remember going to like W.H. Smith's in Stourbridge, and, you know, I would obviously, you know, try and get my mum to get me the magazine, and more often than not she would. And, you know, I mean, that would be like an evening. That would be an evening. I would get back home and I would pore through each page, reading every word, looking at every picture, and just really taking in like everything, because it was just that little bit more. It was that, you know, that little bit more. It was amazing. But now, you know, breaking news all the time. I can click news now, go to Google, and obviously just go down Google and read all the latest kind of news. I mean, like, it just doesn't mean anything anymore. But back then, oh my God, amazing. Yeah. Those were the days, said Aaron. I definitely had SummerSlam 88 through 92 on tape. I remember, I think 88, I think SummerSlam 88. That tape, I mean, I don't think it is now, but I never found that tape at a car boot. I don't know if it was rare, to be honest. I don't know. But I could never find it. I used to go to car boots every few weeks and you know, we would just have a good look to see what was there. I was coming back with bean bags. I was coming back with wrestling buddies. I was coming back with figures, Hasbro figures. I was coming back with, I had a clock on my wall that was wrestling. I had, oh my God, what else did I have? I had loads of wrestling bits. And each one was like £1, right? It's people had bought them and obviously used them, whatever, decided they didn't want them anymore. And then they would just sell them off, like, you know, for cheap at car boot sales. And I would just go and just, you know, oh my God, go mental. Yeah, I could only buy what people were selling. I mean, obviously, you know, I could only buy what was out there. But I never, ever found SummerSlam 88. I never found it. And I remember going to a Blockbusters. And it was a Blockbusters we never normally went to. I don't even know why we went to it. And it was there. It was in this Blockbusters. And so I was able to rent it so I could watch it and know what had happened. But I remember being so gutted at having to take it back. So gutted that I had to return it. Because, I mean, I just didn't know when I'd get a chance to watch it. I'd have to go back to that place again, to rent it again, to watch it again, if I wanted to watch it again. And back then, when you were a kid, you just hammer these videos, you know? Come back from school, if it's raining, you just grab one. Put it on. Doesn't matter if you've seen it 20 times, 30 times before, you just hammer it. But I remember being so gutted at that. I never found SummerSlam 88. Still, I mean, I did look at it the other day, actually. I think there was one on eBay that was like £5 now. And part of me was like, oh, you should get that. You should get that. A bit like Becky going back to NXT to get the title she never won when she was there. I was like, you should get that video to get that video that you never got as a kid. I mean, I didn't. I've got it on DVD now, and obviously the network exists. So there's just not really any need. I don't even have a video player anymore, so there's just no need. But yeah, that was definitely something that crossed my mind. Jay Uso, shout out to you, said, do you think Jay Uso will win the Rumble and at WrestleMania 40, Jay against Roman for the belts? Do you think Damian will do what Seth did to Brock and Roman, or do you think he will cash in on Seth? Okay, I don't think Jay Uso's winning the Rumble and winning at WrestleMania. I think Jay Uso, I think he could win a world title, but it won't be Roman's. I think he's had his shot at Roman's. I think the WrestleMania next year, if I was a betting man, I would say it's going to be Jay against Jimmy, not for a title. So I don't see him being the one that will beat Roman, unfortunately. But I think he could still get a world title. I just think it'll be the one that Seth's got. And what was the other part of the question? Will Damian do what Seth did? Again, I don't think that Damian is going to be cashing in on... I don't think he's going to be cashing in on Roman. He could do to Seth what Seth did, yes. He could cash in on Seth. But I mean, equally, he might not. He might not try and make it like a proper match. He might just cash in at an opportune moment. So if I was a betting man, I would say no. I'd say no. I'd say that Damian isn't going to do what Seth did. I don't know that they see Damian being that level of star to the point where he's going to end WrestleMania standing tall with the championship and everything. I don't know that they kind of see that for him. Right, we are underway with Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James. No intros. They're already in the ring. Tiffany versus Kiana. What do I want to do? I want to do that. Okay, so we're seeing Tiffany Stratton. I'm not sure about this match. I suppose in a way it's just a stopgap, isn't it, really? It's just a stopgap. It's just here for us to have an opponent for Tiffany. And then, as we said, I think she moves on to Becky. Click on that. Let's click on that. Let's click on that. NXT September 5th. Right, bell has sounded and we are underway. I like the Tiffany Stratton graphic. Tiffany versus Kiana. Kicking off the show. Don't watch wrestling stuff, just MMA. What does cashing out mean? Cashing out. Do you mean like money in the bank? Cashing in. So Damian Priest has got a briefcase. He can cash it in. He can give it back to WWE at any time he wants to get a title match whenever he wants for whatever title he wants. So if he wants a shot at the world title, he can come running down, hand the briefcase to the referee, cash it in, and say, I want my title match now. So what you tend to see is like champions that are knackered, wore down, beaten up, and then, you know, the Money in the Bank briefcase holder will come down and cash in at that moment. So every time Seth is competing and is looking a bit worse for wear, people will be wondering, is Damian Priest about to come running down to the ring? Is he about to cash in? There's only one person each year that gets to cash in. And this year it's Damian Priest. For the women, it was Io Sky. She cashed in at, was it SummerSlam? I think it was SummerSlam, wasn't she? That she cashed in at. So she cashed in. You could Google it. Go onto YouTube. If you put in like best cash-ins WWE, you'll see some of the ones that have happened in the past. They're really exciting, really good moments. Kiana charging over midsection of Tiffany. Kiana doing well here. We are going to be seeing Dirty Dom tonight. He's special guest referee. Chill Dude said, "What if Cody beats Roman and gets cashed in on?" I would love it. I really thought that's what was going to happen last year with Austin Theory. My theory was that Cody was going to win, and then it was going to be an immediate cash in by Theory. But obviously, it didn't go that way because Theory cashed in on a United States Championship, and I mean, it's well documented how I feel about that. Kiana is having her arms pulled back here as she's getting up to her feet. Nice reversal by Kiana. This is a big opportunity for Kiana. It doesn't feel like it's been built up as such. You know, we're opening the show with it. It's not like what we did with Chad and Gunther, you know, where we're looking at like previous women's champions and hearing from them. They didn't even get entrances. It must be a stack show. I mean, what that does say to me is that this show is packed. Back elbow there by Tiffany. Kiana goes down. Tiffany against the ropes. She gets rolled up by Kiana. Tiffany flips over. 1, 2. Oh, bridge up there by Kiana. Going around the back, looking for a backslide. No joy. Tiffany with Kiana. Kiana against the ropes. Stuck underneath by Kiana. Clothesline. Both women go down. Crowd's applauding. Crowd appreciating what they're seeing so far. Chrome Cobra said, so they wait for the champ to have the shiz beat out of them and cash it in for an easy win, then get the belt more often than not. Do they normally hold it for a while or a fast turnaround? That's exactly what happens, yeah. So they do get it more often than not. But there has been failed cash-ins as well, where people have come down and thought this is my time, and then still ended up not succeeding. But yeah, it's they do use it to their advantage. They do get it more often than not. Do they hold it for a while, or is it a fast turnaround? It's a bit of a mixed bag, really. You know, some people can go on to hold it for quite a while. Some people can lose it relatively quickly. Tiffany picks up the victory. So Tiffany with the... I can't remember what it's called. Is it called the world's prettiest moonsault? She hits that. Gets the victory, but are we going to see Becky at all? I mean, we're only 7 minutes into the show. We're done with... She did try to cut corners, Tiffany. She tried to use the bag, Kiana's bag. So, Tiffany, the prettiest moonsault, hits the prettiest moonsault on Kiana, gets the victory, holds up the championship, but we're waiting to see if anyone's going to make their presence felt. That's what we're waiting for. Tiffany, there's Becky. She's on the screen. What is next for the man? I've won everything except for one title. It's time. Time the man comes to NXT. Next week. Tiffany Stratton against the man next week. Oh, it's happening. Becky Lynch, Tiffany Stratton next week. There'll be a little bit of disappointment that it's not this week and it's not now, but we're getting it. We're getting it. It's happening. Becky Lynch coming back to NXT. Ilja Dragunov making his way down to the ring. That's big, says Mitchell. It had been teased. It's something that I can't say we weren't... It's not like we weren't expecting it. Like, we were definitely keeping an eye out for it. But to actually now see it confirmed, it's happening. We're getting the match. Like, we could have a new women's NXT champion next week. And it could be the man, Becky Lynch. That is big. That is big. That's going to make next week's show monstrous, isn't it? Next week's NXT is flipping huge. Right, let's try and get to some of these super chats. So, Extreme Wrestling Federation, shout out to you, my friend. I appreciate the kind words. Logan said, have you heard the rumors about Authors of Pain returning tonight? No. It was mentioned in the chat earlier, though, about would they come in and help Bron Breakker. I was asking the question of would they come back to NXT or would they go to the main roster? We've seen a lot of people come back to WWE that have gone to the main roster. So I haven't seen any rumors that's out there. So if you're telling me that there's rumors they're coming to NXT, then okay. Ribby said, big up to you, Daze. Ribby, shout out to you, my friends. Hope you are well. Hope you're enjoying the show. The man, Becky Lynch. This is definitely video worthy. Just trying to find like a good picture. So that'll do. Tiffany's reign is not good. She's only beat Thea Hale twice, says Rio. She isn't ready for this stage. They need to get the belt off her, said Jeremy. Big news coming out of NXT, and it's news that we were hoping for, but it has now been confirmed. Becky Lynch has just cut a video promo. I don't know if it was live or if it was like sent into NXT, but Tiffany won her match tonight. This video then played on the screen, and Becky basically said she's achieved everything she has set out to achieve, apart from one thing, and that is get her hands on the NXT Women's Championship. I really love this story because it makes total sense. Like, that is something that did elude her back in the day. She wants to right that wrong. She said that she is going to be facing Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's Championship next week. Next week's NXT is going to be absolutely huge. Becky really feels like a big star. She feels like someone that can really move the ratings, really move the dial. That's going to be a big episode of NXT next week. I think this might be why we've started with this, to be honest. I think that's why we've not left it till last. I think they want everyone talking about this. They want the buzz. And they've got it. I'm excited for it. Becky versus Tiffany for the title next week. Right, we are back to the show. We got Diamond Mine. They've invited the tag division. They want to climb to the top of the mountain. Here's Tony and Stacks. So it looks like Diamond Mine want to get the NXT tag titles. Okay. A lot has changed since you lot were last here. Here's Anofi and Blade. I haven't seen these two in a while. This might be Ziggler Bron. We could see it flip-flop with Becky and Tiffany at No Mercy, said Serious Gaming. Going to be a long night. So the whole tag team division has been invited to Diamond Mine's kind of training facility. They're talking about Big Time coming down to NXT. George Vlogs, shout out to you. Spicy meatball. Oh, we got the graphic as well now. The main event of next week, Tiffany versus Becky next week on NXT. Let's go. Coach Co said, today was the first day of school. I decided to drive past my old high school, roll down the window and say, you have school today, to the kids. F them kids. F them kids. Okay, here's Metaphor making their way out. Coach Co, shout out to you. Hope you well, buds. Representing Metaphor. Why the hell are they still called Diamond Mine? WWE gutted that group. Just called them Creed Brothers, said Oblong Box. Okay, so Dragunov versus Oro Mensah. Gerald, shout out to you. Said, pour one out for my girl Kiana. Complete afterthoughts. Thanks to that Becky announcement. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? She got the opportunity. She got the opportunity to fight for the women's championship. And I don't think we really maximized it. As I said, I think the reason why it started early is because they want to spend this whole show talking about Becky, talking about next week, getting the buzz online, getting people excited, blah, 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 which you can understand. I can understand. But yeah, it is a shame that Kiana has been overshadowed. I think she would have benefited by just hyping Kiana up throughout the show, because the Becky thing's going to be hyped all week, innit? Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you don't need to hype Becky, Tiffany throughout this show. You can do it on social media and on SmackDown and Raw and whatever over the next 7 days. So maybe Kiana would have benefited by having a bit more spotlight during this show. But hey-ho, it is what it is. It's gone the way it's gone. It's a very exciting development, what with Becky coming down to NXT. So definitely more focused on the positives on this. Okay, Oro Mensah is down. I mean, this should be a relatively simple, straightforward victory for Dragunov. Undercover manager said, evening, best snacks to whilst watching shows. No, I'm not a snack person, to be honest, so I'm not the best person to ask, so that's probably one for other people. I mean, I watch shows a lot, don't I? My snacks are Red Bull, bananas, like that's it. If I was like chilling and I wasn't streaming, I mean, maybe like some chicken tenders or something that you can like dip into a sauce. Some fries, some chicken tenders, maybe some pizza slices, certainly some bottles of beer. Like, that's what I'd be rocking. But yeah, I ain't doing that for... I ain't going to be sitting here munching away on food whilst I'm chatting with you guys. Super kick coming in there by Oro Mensah. Dragunov slumps to the outside of the ring as Metaphor come over. And they're all like, eh. So, boom! Oh my God, man. God, proper kicked him hard in the face. He is bringing it to Dragunov. Barbecue chips or popcorn. Dragunov's in a bit of trouble here. I still expect him to get the win, but he's definitely feeling the effects. Chance for Dragunov. How's the contact lens? Yeah, not brilliant. Yeah, I took them out. I put them in the pot upstairs. And to be honest, I can still feel my eyes just a little uncomfortable. Like, I think my eye just needs a bit of a rest from wearing contact lenses at the moment. So I've just kept them out. So yeah, if I am wearing glasses for a few days, that'll be why. I could really do with some new ones. I mean, you tend to get, or I tend to get like three... like one a month. I don't change them every day. I wear them like a different set, brand new set each month. I don't have any new other ones, so I could really do with like a fresh pair to put in. So I probably need to chase that up. Snickers and Prime, wings and Prime, pizza and Prime, said Dark Angel. Do you think a returning AOP will help Bron Breakker in the no DQ match? Sure, I can't answer it. I don't know. I didn't know that they were even coming down to NXT. So I am excited to see if we're going to get Authors of Pain. I really like Authors of Pain, but I don't. as of half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago, I didn't even know that they were rumored to be coming to NXT. So I don't know where they're going to be popping up. Undercover Manager said, good old British beige diet here. I agree. Turkey, dinosaurs, and smiley faces. Let's go. It's Anarchy said, Daze looks like he's about to read us a bedtime story. Settle him. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Have you ever heard of Jack the Ripper? Let's go. Settle down, kids. This is called The Adventures of Jack the Ripper. Mitchell, shout out to you, buds, said WWE is doing a great thing using main roster stars on NXT. I think Becky should win. Showing any NXT title on the main roster is good for business. Mitchell, shout out to you. We certainly are seeing a lot of main roster stars coming down to NXT. It's a real good period for that. I always found that very exciting when NXT first started. Whenever we would get some main roster stars popping down, it would be like a real mixture of worlds, you know. And then for the longest time, we really didn't get anyone. And it kind of felt like, you know, the main roster did its thing and NXT did its thing. But I think because of them trying to negotiate TV deals, they're really trying to make NXT like a viable third brand. And the only way you're going to do that is by bringing down some of your big, serious names, your Seth Rollins, your Becky Lynches, your Rhea Ripley's, your Dominic Mysterios. Not that Dominic's a big name, but certainly Judgment Day are all over Raw, dominating Raw. So bringing them down, they were down the other week. Rhea Ripley, obviously, is just a really good way to bump the ratings and, you know, kind of show the TV networks what could be possible, kind of a thing, you know. We got 3 solid brands here because, in all fairness, the ratings for NXT, they're not bad. They're not bad, are they? I mean, they're around that kind of 600,000 top end of that as well now. So, yeah, I mean, they've got, you know, if you think that AEW's flagship show, Dynamite, gets 850, this is below that, but it's, I don't know, that kind of 680 range. Like, that's not bad. And I've got to think the amount of money that WWE spend on NXT is minimal compared to what AEW are spending. I mean, I bet budget-wise, it's just completely different. Hard if you're going to include like all the performance center and all that as well, you know, and the trainers and all of that kind of stuff. But saying that, all in with all of that, I bet it's still below AEW. Because we've heard that AEW have been spending some big, serious money on talent. So, you know, majority of these are going to be on developmental contracts. So, you know, you ain't going to get loads of people in NXT earning big bucks. I heard when you first signed, and I don't know how true this is, I believe it to be about $25,000 when you very first sign. And I would imagine, obviously, as you hit certain benchmarks, that increases. But and then I heard that the minimum sign-on fee for the main roster was about $200,000. But again, don't know how true that is. I would imagine that's probably, you know, a sliding scale, if you will. I wouldn't be surprised if there was people that were in the 100,000, 150,000 range that were on the main roster, you know. But kind of as a ballpark, I'm guessing that that's what you would be looking at. That's just roughly the kind of numbers we're talking about. Oro Mensah is back in the corner. Logan said, I did not expect this match to bang. Oh, wow. Have you never seen Dragunov? Dragunov screaming at Oro, backing up into the corner, charging over, collides into Oro Mensah. Mensah goes down, and that is the 3. So it's a victory for Dragunov. Dragunov picks up the win. Dragunov wins. Who wins, Becky or Tiffany? Becky. The only thing I'm hesitating for is, could it be a bit screwy and then Becky gets it just a little further down the line? Could it be that? That's the only thing that I would just question. Dragunov has become one of my favorites, said Mitchell. He's great, isn't he? He is great. He is such a talent. So, good win there for Dragunov. Half an hour gone in this show. Still, you know, a couple of matches and still feels like we're moving at quite a pace. Oh, hello. Wes Lee is coming out. Wes Lee is making his way down to the ring. Okay, so Wes Lee has said he wants Carmelo first. So these two are going to argue over who gets Carmelo first. Like fangirls. Tell you what, fired up, Dragunov, man. I've got more heart than you can handle, says Wes. Here's Carmelo. Carmelo's making his way down to the ring. I know two dudes whose jerseys I hung in the rafters aren't talking about beating me. So Carmelo getting into the ring. Triple threat chance. There is no asterisk next to our match. Ilja's not happy. You took a risk, I took advantage. Let's see who the best is. Next week. So, Wes versus Ilja next week. Winner. Winner faces Carmelo. Sounds like a triple threat. Depends if it's going to be a draw, doesn't it? James said we need Ilja Nakamura feud. That's just the match I wanted for next week. Next week's big, isn't it? Becky and Tiffany. What are we doing next week? What's going on next week? Why are we stacked next week? We got Becky and Tiffany, and now we've got Wes against Ilja. Winner will face Carmelo for the title. We're backstage with Dominic, who's trying to get his head around the rule book. I didn't even know there was a flipping rule book. Where's he got that from? Ah, look at his ref shirt as well. Look at his cheeky ref shirt in purple and black. Ah, do you know what? That segment was all of 5 seconds. There was 2 things that took place in that I really liked. A rule book. Who knew there was a flipping WWE rule book? They should sell that. And showing off his ref shirt, which is purple and black. No sign of Mummy. So Nathan Frazier's music hits. He goes running out to the ring. I don't know who he's facing. I don't know who he's meant to be facing tonight. Daze, WrestleTix, hello, big time. WrestleTix tweeted the attendance for Dynamite tomorrow is 2.6 thousand. Grand Slam in Arthur Ashe in 2 weeks is 5.6 down from the 13,000 last year and 20,000 in 2021. Duke, oh, it's the global heritage thing. Yeah, well, I mean, we know that their domestic attendance is not brilliant. Obviously, the hope was that Wembley was going to turn that around. Duke Hudson, Nathan Frazier. And I don't know, I don't get the sense, I don't get the feeling that it is turning it around. Undercover Manager said, do you think WWE should use Cody's Nightmare Factory as the lower developmental and air weekly buy shows on the network? Maybe having people aspiring to get to NXT could be on the same level as NWA. I think they could do that. I honestly don't know how big an audience there would be for that. Like, that seems like it is an investment. I mean, obviously, I mean, you could just go down and just like, you can't really go down with a handy cam, can you? I mean, that kind of a thing, if you're putting on that sort of a show, that sort of a show, I think would strike me more as being maybe a series, you know, like a Tough Enough, where there's people trying to get an NXT contract type thing. I genuinely don't know. I mean, they were showing Progress, and they were showing WXW, and they were showing indie shows on the network, and my understanding is that there just wasn't a large audience for it. So I would be leaning towards no, because as much fun as it sounds, I don't know the audience is there for that. But you could do some sort of Tough Enough thing where the winner gets an NXT contract. If Cody felt that there was a lot of people ready. But to be honest, I think that American Nightmare Factory, isn't it also co-owned by QT Marshall, and I believe is actually a feeder for AEW. I think it's affiliated with them, so I don't think NXT would even get a look in there, to be honest. Mitchell said, do you think the rule book includes when a talent fears for their lives in a match? What is Dom supposed to do in that scenario? An investigation. So if he fears for his life, he has to do an investigation, and then I believe he fires the person about 4 or 5 days later, and he'll have to do a piece to camera where he says that he feared for his life. They should release that rule book. They did release a rule book. I think I've shown it before. Don't know. It might be on my shelf. I'm not too sure. I've got a lot of stuff on the shelf. There is a rule book that WWE released, and it's we spoke about it before. It sucks. It really sucks. I bought it, and first of all, there was a rumor they were going to release a rule book, which I was really excited about, because I just think, like, you know, seeing it written down, getting your head around a few of those kind of more obscure rules, like, that would be interesting. You know, kind of, I don't know, maybe a bit of clarity as to when you're on the outside breaking accounts. I've seen it where, like, sometimes one person can get in the ring and that breaks the count. Sometimes, like, one person gets in the ring, the referee continues to keep on counting. And so, you know, a bit of clarity to that. I suppose the problem is, if WWE was to release a rule book, there'd be plenty of people, like myself included, that'd be like, well, hang on, we never did that for that match. We never did that for that match. Plus also matches that are coming up, we'd be like, well, they haven't done that. The rule book says you can't do that. You know. Proper geeks with glasses like me. Actually, Rule 275 of the official WWE rulebook says that you can't do that. So I think that's why they've never done it. But yeah, they did release like this rule book, but it was, oh god, it was rubbish. It wasn't like a proper rule book. We've got Thea Hale, who's starting to dress a little bit edgy. This is a grown woman's division. You're just a child. So we are seeing... I don't need you to stand up for me. I'm a grown woman. You don't know me. You don't want to hang around with JC. So Gigi advises Thea to not hang with JC. Mitchell said the craziest rule I saw in WWE was a non-legal wrestler in a tag match can only break up a pinfall once. I think I'm saying that right. Oh, really? That's new to me. I've not heard that before. The other one as well, you know, they probably wouldn't put it in the rule book, but you know the one where Roman signs his contract to be in that triple threat, how his championship worked? Like, I still don't get how that is allowed. How you can, like, surely once a match starts, that's it. But we've seen plenty of times where a handicap match gets turned into a tag match because the person that's at the disadvantage, their partner comes down mid-match. Like, that's another one which I've never quite understood how that's allowed. Because when the bell has sounded, surely that's, you know, that's it. It's locked in, isn't it? I would have thought it was locked in. But apparently not. That's interesting. I've not heard that one. I've not heard that a non-legal wrestler in a tag match can only break up a pinfall once. Right, we are underway. Group B. So this is Global Heritage Invitational. Match 3. Global Heritage Invitational as Duke Hudson takes on Nathan Frazier. If Thea Gigi gets more time than Tiffany Kiana, I'ma be heated, said Gerald's. Great show of strength by Duke Hudson. Goes for the pin. 40 minutes into the show. I know many, but after the first 3 years, it seems I don't know a lot about her, said Q the Night Night. Thea with the bad girls now. She with the bad girls now. She with the bad girls. Right, we've got Duke rolling to the outside. Nathan climbing up top, perched, comes crashing down onto Duke Hudson. Nathan grabbing Duke, hurling him back into the ring. Andre Chase is at ringside. We're seeing Metaphor are watching on. I don't think Oro Mensah's up there though. He's probably still feeling the effects of that match earlier. They're all dressed in like winter attire. It's like a winter wonderland on that Metaphor room. Up here, that used to be like a VIP space, didn't it, for like Toxic Attraction? Nathan Frazier in the corner. Hudson hurling him over the other side. Nathan Frazier goes down. Hudson picking up Frazier. Frazier lands on his feet. Hudson again picks him up. Looking for a razor's edge. Oh, reversal. Duke Hudson goes into the corner. So Nathan Frazier back in the corner. Kick coming in there by Nathan Frazier. Duke Hudson goes down. I like Duke Hudson. Frazier splashes on Hudson. 1, 2. Wow, that's a big win for Nathan Frazier. That's got to be disappointing for Duke Hudson. The VIP MVP of Chase U has just lost the first match. Joe Coffey, Nathan Frazier, Duke Hudson, and Akira Tozawa. That is Group B. Daze, was Dominic happy for Ray when he went in the Hall of Fame? No. Imagine they became undisputed tag champs. They were tag champs? Oh, they weren't undisputed, though. You are right about that. They should be top guys. What if Omos was a member of Judgment Day instead of Dominic? I mean, that would be fine, but obviously you wouldn't have the Rhea-Dominic relationship. Plus also, Dominic needs Judgment Day. Judgment Day might not need Dominic, but Dominic needs Judgment Day. I think they're hoping that they can really get somewhere with Dominic. So if you was to cut him out, it would be harder for him, you know. I think he'd struggle on his own. Let me scrap that. He would struggle on his own. Nima and Prince. Or prices. Scripps. I forgot he was with them. So we've got Hank. We've got Hank and Tank. This looks like the most boring get-together ever. I mean, they're literally in this space and there's like some bottles of water on a table. Not even any snacks. People just kind of standing around looking glum. It looks like the worst place to be. So, yeah, Nima and Price. I think that's what they're called. Scripps, for some reason, seems to be their like manager of some description. And they were just confronting Hank and Tank. So I don't know if that will set up a match. It may do. Coming up next, Tyler Bate takes on Dabba Kato. So that, amazingly, is going to be match number 4. Dabba Kato. Scripts in NXT. Isn't that Reggie? It's hard to say. But yes, it definitely is. Earth, Wind, and Scripts. Multi-person matches are limited to 12 versus 1 contests in Tillamook, Oregon. Dark Angel, shout out to you. Think about it. Tomorrow, your guy, Big Willie, will be soaring at 30,000 feet. Flight leaves at 6 a.m. Where you going, Big Will? Big Will, where you going? You're on a flight, mate. Big Will, what's going on? I didn't know you was going somewhere. Where are you going? We need to warn them. Godfather So said, Daze very lifted on that JC dub. Fago Funk Garcia has the best dance, in my opinion. Forget Sean. Forget Honky. Maybe close to Akeem. Oh. Yes, the African dream. Is Phil going to WWE? Question mark. CM Junk should be the new gimmick. Very big. Thank you. Thank you, my friends. I used to, Akeem. Oh, it's one of those gimmicks you just couldn't do now because of like cultural appropriation. But I really liked Akeem as a kid. Just fun. Just used to dance his way down to the I used to like the yellow and the blue, and he did his jive dance, and he would make his way down. I never fully understood why he did that. I mean, they tried to make out that he found out he had African roots. But, yeah, Keen, I loved the figure. I loved the figure as a kid. He was someone that I would have liked to have seen them use more, and I'd like to have seen him achieve more. But I don't know, they just, there were certain wrestlers that were just there to fill up the card, weren't they? And Akeem very much was one of those guys. Very much one of those guys. Zoom Station said, NXT has got more tags than the main roster. Serious Gaming said, what would you do with Gigi? Seems like HBK is lost with what to do. Yeah, I think we've tried a couple of things with her. I mean, her feud with JC I thought was all right. It was maybe not the big, exciting feud. I mean, they tried to bring in family. They tried to bring in her brother. They tried to talk about how hard the upbringing was and take her back to where she was born. I mean, we've tried a few things there. But that sort of ran its course. It felt like it ran its course relatively quickly. Like, maybe we just spent a bit too, I don't know. Perhaps we need to try and... It's difficult, isn't it? I'm thinking like how Tommaso and Johnny, that felt like it ran for quite a long time. I think because it did run for quite a long time. But this JC and Gigi one doesn't feel like it's really... We could always go back to it, I suppose. But, yeah, it is a bit of a struggle. It is a bit of a struggle. But I don't think it's only Gigi. I think there's a few that you're struggling to kind of hang your hat on. I don't think we've really got anywhere with like Axiom, for example. I don't even know that JC came out of it looking all that great. So, it's a constant battle to find like good creative that really does propel people to the next level. For the longest time, we were spinning our wheels with Von Wagner. Then we really, really spent time digging into his past and his struggles. And I think we've managed to like get somewhere, and the crowd now feel a connection with him. So I think it's one of those where if we really wanted to get behind Gigi, we could find like, a story that would do it. We could find a creative angle that would work. But the problem is when you're trying to do that for so many people, it becomes really difficult because you only get like a very short amount of time. And it's kind of hard. So like, if you're really going to invest in someone, you've got to really put them in like one of the big stories that's being focused on. And if they're not in one of those big stories, they're probably not going to get much to get their teeth into. And that kind of feels like that's where we are with Gigi at the moment. We're just in a place where she's not really the focus. There's not really much for us to get our teeth into as a result. Tyler Bates down, so we are underway with Tyler versus Dabba. I mean, the size difference here is very noticeable, obviously. And Dabba Kato, he should win this, Dabba Kato. Gigi versus Thea Hale tonight. No DQ main event as well. Bron Breakker versus Von Wagner. Right now, Tyler is being bent over the leg of Dabba Kato. Dabba Kato really... Booker T said, this is a message. A message being sent by Dabba Kato at the moment. Knee strike coming in there by Tyler. Tyler going over to the corner. Ducks underneath. Back elbow. Misses. Kick coming in by Tyler. Tyler going up to the middle rope. Collides into Dabba Kato. Bop and bang. No joy. Duck underneath. Against the ropes. Big shot coming in there by Tyler. Against the ropes again. Clothesline. Dabba Kato staying on his feet. Against the ropes one more time, but he gets caught. Choke slam. Oh. He actually hits like a Superman punch. Now he's going to look to get Dabba-Kato up. Airplane spin. Yeah, look at the strength, man. Look at the strength. He's got Dabba-Kato on his shoulders. Airplane spin. Yeah, fair play. Big, strong boy chants breaking out in NXT. Big, strong boy. Big, strong boy. Airplane spin by Tyler Bates on Dabba-Kato. Tyler going up top. Looking for the cover. It's like a court. Wow. Tyler gets the win. Tyler gets the win over Dabba-Kato. Wow. Like a corkscrew plancher, but don't know. Did Dabba forget to kick out? No way was I expecting that. Hey, we're backstage with Dominic and Carmelo. So Dominic says, I'm about to find out mine. So Dominic's sort of suggesting that he is going to play a part in the outcome of this match. Making his way down to the ring. Match number 5. Match number 5. We got Lyra and we've got Roxanne. Oh, is it Lyra? Yeah, it is Lyra. Oh, here's Kiana. Kiana's upset. You should be grateful that you even got the opportunity, says Roxanne. Roxanne with a forearm strike there, having to separate Roxanne and Kiana. Right, match 5 is Dragon Lee versus Mustafa Ali. Paul says, Daze, YouTube family, God bless everyone. Paul, shout out to you, dudes. Hope you are enjoying the show. Just thinking, do we do halftime scores now? But I don't think we do it just yet. Dragon Lee versus Mustafa Ali. All I do is type. I feel like a secretary. Defcon said, ladies and gentlemen, it's the big con dom. The big condom. Let's go. The big condom. Defcon Prime, Pirate King Jack plays. Shout out to you. Mitchell said, saying Scripps is Reggie is like saying El Generico is Sammy. I don't believe it. Kashawn said, Days crazy fact. Roman Reigns' Universal Championship reign has outlasted CM Punk's whole AEW career. That is a crazy fact. I like that. That's good. Kiana going backwards in her career, feuding with Roxanne for no reason, says Real. Jay says Becky will win the NXT title, but Roxanne Perez will be the one to take it back. Wait and see. You could be right. I could see Becky wanting to get in there with Roxanne and put Roxanne over. I could definitely see that. All right, chat. F, marry, kill, Liv Morgan, Anna Jay, or Julia Hart. F, marry, kill, Liv Morgan, Anna Jay, Julia Hart. Right, straight away. Anna Jay does my head in. Oh God, that's a good question. Actually, they're all annoying. Julia Hart doesn't really say much, does she? She's quite quiet. She's quite quiet. I don't know how old she is though. Like, and she like quite young as well. No, I think to be on the safe side, I would go marry Julia Hart because I don't think she's like annoying because she didn't really say much. So I'd go marry because I think she's like, is she like 19 or something? I want to kill her. And I better not do the F thing. So I'll go marry. I'd go marry Julia Hart. I'd kill Anna Jay. She does my head in. Find her really annoying. And so F Liv Morgan. F Liv Morgan. That's what I live my life by. F Liv Morgan. Marry Julia Hart. Kill Anna Jay. That's how I would play it. That's the correct way to play it as well, by the way. But we shouldn't play those games because it's very sexist. And I'm very disappointed in you all. That's on you. That's not on me. That's on you. Here's Baron Corbin. Bron talks about being the alpha of NXT. If you want to be the alpha, you've got to end Von's career. If you want to play with the big boys, so he doesn't care who wins. So he might pick up the scraps. We're just seeing Becky earlier tonight as well. That's the big talking point, isn't it? Whacked Out Wrestling Podcast said, even more sobering than the Roman Punk stat. Roman's reign has been so long, it outlived the man he won the belt from. I forget her name. It's that, I like her, but I wish she wore the bow tie. So there's the graphic for Becky and Tiffany. Malachi made Julia Hart fear for her life when he missed in her eye before she joined the House of Black, said Boomers TV. Alpha or beta people are not a real thing. Alpha or beta people are not a real thing. I don't even know what that is. What's an alpha person? Do you mean Chad Gable? Do you mean Otis? R.I.P. Bray Wyatt said, I just got in here. Has Becky been mentioned? Yes. I want her to end up winning the NXT title. She showed, well, she wasn't actually here, but she did send in a video message. I couldn't tell if it was pre-recorded or we were meant to think it was live. I mean, it was clearly pre-recorded. So I don't know what I was meant to think. But either way, Becky spoke via a video message. She's going to be on NXT next week, competing against Tiffany Stratton. It's happening. It is happening. Here's Dragon Lee then. Mustafa Ali is in the ring. Dirty Dom is the guest referee. Dragon Lee making his way out. Football is back as well, guys. Breaking news. Football is back. Look at Jocko Willink and Tony Khan. Then tell me there's no such thing as alpha and betas. Who's Jocko Willink? Willink. Jocko Willink. It's a hard name, isn't it? I would definitely buy Tiffany Stratton's farts in a jar. Funny you should say that. We had a look on eBay to see if anyone was selling their farts. I couldn't find any in the UK. I'm quite relieved. Triple T said that there were some in the USA, though. Some of them good old American farts. Uncle Sam farts. Buy yours now. Get yours now. Jay said, I can actually see Mustafa Ali on AEW someday when they eventually release him. Right, we are into, so we're done with the first hour. Once we go to the next commercial break, we will do halftime scores. There's been a lot of wrestling tonight. This is match number 5 in an hour. And there's been lots of backstage moments as well and other things that have been going on. It's not just been match, but match number 5. I actually don't know how that normally compares. I don't normally keep tabs, but feels like a lot. Feels like a lot of matches. It's not usual to have the first match done in the first, was it like 7 minutes? Normally that first match gets, 20 minutes or so. Good chunk of time. Chop coming in by Mustafa Ali. Oh, that's her name, isn't it? Kelly Kincaid, Quinn McKay. Hopefully back in the ring where she belongs, says Jim. That's her name, yes. Quinn McKay. 1, 2. Well, he counted that all right, old Dirty Dom. So no Rhea on this. This means that Dirty Dom had to travel to this show all by himself, all on his own. Chop coming in there by Dragon Lee. Dirty Dom coming over, just having a little words. Flip over by Mustafa Ali. This week definitely feels like we're just setting up next week, you know? Feels like a bit of a go-home for next week. Next week looks amazing, though. Amazing. WWE's next premium live event is Fastlane on October 7th. Crown Jewel on October 4th, November 4th. And Survivor Series November 25th. Adam, shout out to you as Mustafa Ali goes over the commentary table. The sweeties are exposed again, but they're not thrown all over the floor. Mustafa Ali is down on the outside. Dragon Lee goes back to the outside as well. Booker T having to, like, really try to get out of the way there. Mustafa Ali goes up top into a... Oh, that was great from Mustafa Ali. Do you know what? I forget just how good he is. I kind of look at this match and I'm like, I'm not really too bothered, you know. Dragon Lee's all right. I don't like find myself loving Dragon Lee matches since he's come in. I'm sure, like, in New Japan, whatever, like, people were going mental for him. But, like, since he's been in NXT, I don't find myself loving his matches. But some really good stuff here between these two. 1, 2. I feel like Dom's calling this pretty much down the middle. I think Dom's doing a pretty good job here. Dragon Lee grabbing Mustafa Ali. Moves out the way. Out the way. Dragon Lee goes into the ring post. On the top. Mustafa Ali got him up in the air. Lovely. Jackhammer by Mustafa Ali. Too sweet. Daze, howdy doody. How are you? The cow goes moo. Timbuktu. Corey, shout out to you. Rhea versus Raquel this Monday has Dom banned from ringside. That's true. Dom is playing by the rules. No dirtiness. No dirtiness. Round the house. Ooh, a little bit clunky. Dragon Lee. Oh, massive. Sit down power bomb. Oof. By Dragon Lee, and it's a kick out by Mustafa Ali. Dragon Lee. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was quick. That was really quick. Dirty Dom cheats. Quick count by Dom gives Mustafa Ali the win. 1, 2, 3. Do you know what? He'd called it down the middle. One, two, three. Why though, does he want to face Mustafa Ali? Crowds are booing. Mustafa Ali nails Dirty Dom. He's still taking the win though, isn't he? I don't get why Dirty Dom did that for Mustafa Ali. Hopefully we find out. Okay, we've got Trick Williams. He played dirty at the end. It has to be planned, said WWE Liv Morgan fan. Yeah, I want to see a segment though where they talk. Dragunov talking to Trick. Okay, so just a little moment here between Trick and Dragunov. Butch! Butch! Time for Butch! Time for match number 6! Here he is, Butchy boy. Oh, that's a new graphic, isn't it? So it said Butch on screen. Butch comes out and does like that, and then the graphic goes... Representing the Brawling Brutes. Butch versus Axiom. Next. Oh, Butchy boy. Mitchell said it's probably because Ray endorsed Dragon Lee. Ah, that's good. That's clever. That's clever. Yeah. I still need it explained. But yeah, that's a good shout, that is. Gerald said Dragunov hasn't become such an underrated promo man. Hasn't become such an underrated promo man. Guess what time it is? Well, I know what time it is. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. Boom. Get in your scores. John said 7.5. Alexa Bliss Gamer said 7. 1 Minute Wrestler says 7. Serious Gaming with a 7. Trey Gaming said 6.5. Huh? Says 6.5. 7. Knots. Bad First NXT Watch said George Vlogs. Scott Slade said 7.5. Wild said 7. Flyboy Wave says 8. Terry Cook says 7. Paul said 6.5. Mitchell said, I'm going to go somewhere in the 6.57 range. I've enjoyed the wrestling. What about you? I would be 6.5. Yeah. Just looking back at the matches. I mean, there wasn't much to Tiffany and Kiana, but Dragunov RO I thought was fun. Duke Hudson, Nathan Frazier, there wasn't much to that. Tyler Bate getting the shock win was interesting. Dragon Lee, Mustafa Ali, I mean, I did get some up from it, but, you know, that really was more about the screwy finish and Dirty Dom, whatever. Becky news at the start as well. That still feels like the biggest talking point. So, yeah, I think there hasn't been that match for me that's been, oh my God, this is mental type match, you know? Maybe that will be the main event. So I think 6.5 for the halfway point is, I feel like that's probably a fair score. And just looking at other people's scores, it seems like we're all around that kind of, well, a lot of us are around that range. Virus is 7.5, AB Jobson 7.5, Dean 8.5, Young Heath Slater with Young Heath Ledger with a 7. Gerald said 6.5 would be a 7, but that opener is hard to get over. John said 5.9. It's been okay. Alex said 7.5. Zoom Station said 6.5. Adam says 6.5. Kashawn said 7. Dark Angel said 6.91. Steven says 7. John with a 5.9. Boomers said 9.99999. Sean says 7.5. Smurfy Toons said 7. K-Pop Lover says 30 out of 10. Colton with a 7. Hawkins Jr. with a 7. WWE Liv Morgan fan says 8.7. Shaquem said 6.75. Ray said 11. For the amount of matches we're going to fit in to 2 hours tonight. Loopy Girl said 7. Q the Light Knight said 7.3. Steven says 7 as well. Maria said, are you doing UFC 293? I am. Wild said, what? Superstar as a kid, you thought for sure was going to win the IC title? We answered that one earlier. Smurftoon said, is Dom trying to be the next member of Foot Locker? Yeah. Do they wear those colors? Don't they wear rep shirts? I'm trying to think, it's been a long time since I've been in a Foot Locker. Connor's Cure on screen. So we are back. We got 45 minutes to go. 45 minutes to go. We are seeing Drew Gulak, Charlie Dempsey, Damon Kemp. Oh, yeah, I like this Miles guy. Sure you weren't just hanging around with your cowboy buckaroo buddies? So they're saying Miles isn't ready. You only get one opportunity to make a good impression. You better make it count. Here's Eddie Thorpe. So Eddie Thorpe not done with Dijak. I thought Junkyard Dog would win the IC, said Zoom Station. WWE Blue Morgan fan said, did you see my comment on your last video on the Raw results? I didn't know because I was doing Wrestling Escape Pods. What was it? WWE Liv Morgan fan. This NXT is longer than usual. What, do you think it feels that way? Think it feels longer than usual? Next week's NXT is already a 9, said Hawkins Jr. 5, tired of main roster. Burying developmental, said Greggy. Okay, global, heritage, invitational rules. Got metaphor. There's Oro Mensah is up there now. Whoa, Axiom went for a handshake. Butch slapped him. Axiom again rolling through, grabbing the leg of Butch. So Butch getting over to the bottom rope, and they break apart. I mean, do you know what? Like, this is A-Kid against Butch, and this should bang. This should be really good. Again, Butch in control. I really love Butch's ring gear. The whites with the kind of red and blue on the sides. It just looks so classy. I think it looks really good. Coach Co said, can you see by the dawn's early light? I am Siri. I have demons trying to catch me slipping, but that's not happening because I've got dog backwards. Coach Co, shout out to you. No, he didn't. They just said congratulations to Gunther for surpassing the Honky Tonk Man last night. That's not true. I need to double check it, but I'm pretty sure we worked out that it was like later this week that it would actually happen. I think that might be a botch, guys. That might be a botch. I love being that nerdy. He is on 453. Honky Tonk Man 454. So he hasn't passed it yet. He hasn't even drawn level with it yet. He's still 1 day behind. Tomorrow he will go level. Thursday he will beat the record. So actually, I think you'll find he hasn't beaten the Honky Tonk Man. Is someone might be able to face him tonight, and then he wouldn't beat the record, would he? Or tomorrow. I love being that person. I don't. I really don't. Gunther didn't do it yet. It's botching news. Botching news. Botching news. Guys, we've got some botching news. Butch over by the ropes. If I was Honky Tonk Man, I'd be livid. Be flipping livid. Axiom on the edge of the ring. I love having my paperwork to date. At some point, them hot divas need love, said Q the Light Knight. Let's go. You love them divas. You love them. I think, are we about to go to commercial break? Butch in control. Boom. Have you noticed Butch has been bringing back his old gear and also been bringing out his old side? Pete Dunne is slowly coming back, says WWE Liv Morgan fan. Dean said, much love to my American friends. WWE Liv Morgan fan said, Gunther passes Honky Tonk Man on Friday. Is it Friday? Is it? Could be true. Wikipedia says that he is 1 day behind. Although saying that, technically it is 22 minutes past 2 in the morning of Wednesday. So tomorrow would be Thursday. He would draw level, which means he would beat it on Friday. Do you know, if I was WWE, I would be so tempted to have him do a match on SmackDown. Like, don't you think that that's... Like, have him come to SmackDown to do, like, a celebration. Because, oh, no, because he would have beaten it, wouldn't he? It would already be beaten. Because Thursday is the day that is, like, where he's even. Friday, by the time Friday comes around, he's already beaten it. That's a shame. In my head, I was thinking, could you just do one last thing? One last shock, like, oh, my God, you've got to get past this to do it. Type thing, but he would have already done it by Friday. So it is done, innit? I mean, there are no other shows. There are no other shows. Not even house shows. They only tend to do house shows of a weekend, so it's done. I'm pleased for him. I'm not down on it at all. I'm pleased for him. Gunther losing the IC title on Dynamite to Jack Perry. Oh, that's true. We do still have a Dynamite. We do still have a Dynamite. Could you see in WWE Daze, what do you think? It's just a question of what? Of what could you see in WWE all not days? What does that mean? What does it mean? Can I wait my suit with Joker face? What does it mean? I need a what does it mean button. What does that mean? Huh? What does that mean? That way I can just press it when I read a comment that I just don't understand. I mean, the button will get wore out for Kojiko, won't it? The button will break for Kojiko. Jeez Louise. Do you remember Great Balls of Fire? I do. I think... I do. I was going to say, I think we did a watch-along for it, but I don't think we did, actually. I think that was just before we were doing the watch-alongs. Right. Huh is taken, says huh. Damn. I just have to go with what does that mean. Right, we've gone back to the action. We got 35 minutes to go, although there may be an overrun. Butch versus Axiom. This is in Group A. There was a report Honky Tonk Man said his reign was gypped by a day. Not going to matter. Because even if we get through to next week's Raw, it will still be longer than a day's gypping. So it really doesn't matter if it's been gypped by a day. Honky Tonk Man never got lifted into a true heavyweight title contender from his IC run. He fell into tag teams with Valentine. Cups coming in. Oh my God. That seemed like a big overhand right by Axiom. Axiom charging over. Big kick coming in. Lovely. Pin. Perfect plex. Axiom plex. Butch down. There's the crowd are breaking out of "This is awesome" chant. Tickets available for NXT No Mercy. Well, I wonder where is that show actually? Standing moonsault, but he gets caught by Butch. Butch with some elbows to the head of Axiom. Axiom trying to get over to the ropes. Referee coming in, going to look to separate these two. Butch jumping on top of Axiom. Big shot coming in. Referee was actually counting there because Axiom's shoulders were down. Butch unload him. Stomping on the head of Axiom. Got the arms. Bang, bang, bang. Butch. Headbutt coming in there by Axiom. Butch going back against the ropes. Big shot coming in by Axiom. Tries to roll through. He's going to look to pull back on the arm. Wow, I tell you what, that's an interesting pinning attempt, but no joy. Now Butch trying to pin Axiom. Managed to grab the arm. Butch rolls him over. It's a little intricate. I think that's probably the best words. There's lots of like grabbing of arms, setting things up, but then the other person will get out of it. Big shot coming in there by Axiom. Kick coming in by Axiom. Charging over, Inzaguri. Butch over by the ropes. 2 minutes remaining. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't think about the time limit draw. Oh, we might be going to a time limit draw. Oh, sit down. Powerbomb 2. Kick out. Do you know what? I would really like it if we don't. I don't remember them announcing the time before. So I think it'd be really good if we didn't go to a draw. If, like, we do get a winner, like, they've actually planted a seed for a draw that could come further down the road. Because now that I've heard her say that for the first time, it immediately makes me go, oh, this will be a draw then. But how good if it's not? How good if it turns out that it's not a draw? But the fact that I've not heard her mention, like, time before, and she's just done it, makes me go, oh, all right. Got you. Butch is over by the ropes. Axiom goes for the pin, but because Butch's arm is out the ring, referee doesn't count. Now, looking, pulling back on the arm. This match needs a this is awesome, said Raheel. Axiom. No joy. Butch snapping the fingers of Axiom. Snapping the fingers. We've got the clock in the corner. 10, 9, 8, 1, 2. Kick out. 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a draw. Ding, ding, ding. Ring-a-ding-ding. Time limit draw. I think it's 12 minutes. Tell you what, that is a decent match. It's... I don't know how we don't do we. I was going to say, if it was like... I think it's just the winner of both groups. If it was going to be that the top two went into like a semi-final and then the winners went to a final, if we got that match further down the road, and it was in like a semi-final, that could be really interesting. Butcher's got 1 win, 1 draw. It puts him on 3 points. Here's Tyler Bate making his way out. Tyler Bate picking up a big win earlier against Stabber Kato. Bate waves to... Look at Butcher's like, what do you want? Tyler Bate comes out, he's like, cuts to the ring, and Butcher's like, what do you want? These British strong style brothers. Oh, it's like the younger brother was so excited to see the older brother is like, and the older brother's like, just leave me alone, would you? What do you want? What are you doing here? is that the only reason he came out? Did he just come out to say hello to Butch? Hey, do you remember me? We came up together, do you remember? Back in England. British Strong Style. What do you want? Right, here's Gigi. Match number flipping 7. We're going for a world records. Gigi Dolan versus Thea Hale coming up next. Do you know, like how WWE gets accused of not having much wrestling? I feel like this one episode of NXT is trying to restore the balance. This one episode of NXT is trying to completely change that argument. There's no way you can say that there's no wrestling in WWE. Did you see this week's NXT? Daze, are you aware of Von Wagner come Tuesday meme? No. What's that? Godfather So said, I'm still very high off that Hangman. It's the ultimate question. What happens when Vince passes? Will it be sad? But for the company, will it be enough to put AEW in the grave? RIP Raw era. What happens when Vince passes? Well, I think we're starting to see more and more that, you know, the company will survive and how it's going to look when Vince passes. I mean, I know people want to make out that Vince is driving the creative, but I really do believe that it is Triple H that's doing that. In regards to, will it be sad? I mean, I think it will be sad, but, you know, there is, unfortunately, an asterisk that's next to his name with these allegations, you know. This is a man that gave us WWE, and without him, I don't know what we would be doing. I don't know if WWE would even be here. It was a regional promotion that definitely was branching out nationally and was, you know, one of the biggest regions, territories. So there was plenty of people around America that was trying to watch and see what was happening in New York. New York. Breaking news. And so it was, you know, Madison Square Garden. It was the biggest territory. Definitely, you know, before Vince Jr., it had the eyes of the wrestling world, but it was not the global force that it became, nowhere near the global force that it became under Vince Jr., Vince McMahon. You know, WrestleMania, when there was no WrestleMania, there was no Survivor Series, SummerSlam, there was, you know, it was, he just changed it all, didn't he? And he went out and he got all that best talent from the other territories and made this super promotion that took over the US and quickly took over the world thanks to TV distribution, Sky here in the UK. So, yeah, I think that when he passes, I mean, there's no way that you can't reflect on the impact that he had. But it'll be very interesting to know how people will feel. I think, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how people will feel. Maybe WWE would still be a part of the NWA. Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, could we have seen WCW take over? And would WCW have, you know, in an alternative universe, would it be a case that WCW would have just dominated, took over, and maybe there would be no WWE? Perhaps it would have gone and been bought by WCW? You know, I think that's a very realistic alternative universe. We are... Oh, look at this. We've got Los Lotharios. Don't come in here and threaten us. So these two have been getting video packages for a long time. Oh, Angel. Nails. There's a big brawl that's just broke out. So Diamond Mine Dojo explodes into a big brawl. Thea's still coming out to Chase U music, but there's no sign of Andre Chase or Duke Hudson. Thea Hale has come down. She is doing her but JC tells her to just get up. She is acting different. She was jogging out. She came out with the megaphone. JC tells her to get rid of it. I love how she throws it. So Hale told to not run. She throws the megaphone away. GG kicks out. Vince killed the territory, said Big Al. Why would someone else have come along and done that? An argument can be made it was actually bad for wrestling. Well, I mean, look, Ted Turner, there's people with money that don't care about the romance of wrestling and all that, right? There's people that just want to own the biggest promotions. They want their own wrestling company and they want it to be the biggest in the world. Eventually that would have happened. So, you know, I could see someone like Ted Turner with his money and his platform coming along and against a WWE that was still regional, still a territory. I could see Ted Turner doing the Vince McMahon thing. I think it would have happened eventually. Someone would have done it. Vince did it first. But if Vince hadn't have done it, someone else would have done it. I don't see any... Well, there could have been a way. But I think it would be very, very, very unlikely that we would be sat here with the territory system still in place. Someone would have risen up and took over eventually. It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? 1, 2. Shoulder up by Thea. But some of the matches tonight are all right, said Dean. Over against the ropes goes Gigi. Thea takes Gigi down into a Kimura. Kimura by Thea. Gigi in pain here. Middle of the ring. Tell you what, she's liking what she's seeing. Gigi still struggling. Trying to reach over to the ropes. And she gets to the ropes. Jay's on Raw. Who do you think will go to SmackDown? I think Cody. We're on the outside of the ring. Thea goes into the ring post. And Gigi with a clothesline. Thea goes down. Thea gets chucked into the ring. JC jumps up, tries to distract the referee. Down comes Blair Davenport. Blair Davenport interferes. So JC distracts as Blair attacks Gigi. Thea wins. So Blair Davenport came down and interfered. I wonder where we're going with Thea. Do you think we're going to get to the point where she will see that she's been led down the wrong path, will rebel, and then go back to being Chase U, you know? Do you think we'll get that moment where she goes back? Or I wonder if we're just going to keep going with this. Three brothers are happy to be back. Von Wagner, you're going to get tabled. So, main event coming up next. Von Wagner, Bron Breakker. That's pretty cool. Trini says, as morally bankrupt as Vince is, maybe you can give credit where it's due. He took pro wrestling mainstream, made it into sports entertainment. Kashawn said, I think WWE should bring back Raw Roulette in the future. I think it was a fun concept, spinning the wheel to which match it can land on. We did that with Halloween Havoc, didn't we? With the spinning the wheel. To figure out what match type it was going to be. Thea Hale has to graduate eventually, said Def. That's true. That's true. Maybe it is a case that she has graduated and is now moving on and, you know, being led astray. I kind of like that moment, though, where I could see it being a case that JC gets her to do more and more bad stuff. And I could see it being the case that Thea really gets more and more uncomfortable. And I think at some point it's going to be like a bit like Sammy at the Rumble, where he's being made to like wallop a helpless Kevin Owens, and he couldn't do it. He turned on Roman. Maybe she won't be able to do it, and she turns on JC. So there's potential for it to go that way. Potential. Raheel said Bron needs to go to Raw and feud with Jey Uso. Thoughts? Well, the only problem with that is that both would need to win. Like, Bron going up to the main roster as a big monster would mean that he would really need to get the win. And Jey Uso now being on his own and coming away from the Usos and standing on his own 2 feet kind of feels like he needs to win as well. So that would be a struggle to know how to book that, because they both need the win. So it's certainly a match that you could do, but I would do it, I think, further down the road. And I would do it with probably Bron going over. So whatever it is that you want to do with Jey, do it now before WrestleMania. Then at WrestleMania, do Jey and Jimmy. And then if they're sticking around after that, which I hope they are. I mean, there are rumors that once they do the match against each other, there's thoughts they might call it quits. I mean, I haven't seen anything to say that that's what they're going to do. But, yeah, if they are sticking around, then I would probably look at doing Jey Bron after that. So if we're going to be building him up for like titles or something, you might want to look to do that this side of WrestleMania. I hate when wrestlers cheat to win, says Brandon. Vince saw his dad make the mistake of passing on Andy Kaufman. That is what gave him the idea to blend wrestling with Hollywood and music, said Zoom Station. Is that true? I've never heard that. I've never heard that. Is that a theory, or is that something that has actually been said by Vince? Because I mean, it is true that Vince Senior passed up on it, but I genuinely don't know that that's what inspired Vince to combine like the rock and wrestling thing. I don't know. I don't know that that's true. If it is, I'd love to read more into that. If he's given some sort of interview somewhere, or there's been, I don't know, Bruce Pritchard has said on an interview that that's where it came from, you know. But it is true that Vince Senior passed on Andy Kaufman. Daze jump in the combo. Wes, hello? I don't know what the combo is. What arena in Chicago did All Out take place at this year? It was the United Center. United Center? Axiom did not wrestle Giving tonight. Axiom did not wrestle Giving tonight. I mean, what does that mean, Button? Hey, here's Alani Jordan. Here's Dana. Dana telling Lyra to go away. We're a team. And you're not going to break us up. Never had an issue with you. Becky's back. Whoa, 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 whoa. Welcome to the big time. I love my attitude problem. Is that what her shirt says? I love my attitude problem. So, Becky. You might be big time, Bex. See you next Tuesday. B words. Okay. We're just running down what we've got next week. It's pretty stacked. Wesley, Ilja Dragunov next week. Tiffany Stratton against Becky Lynch next week as well. As well as that, we've also got some invitational matches. Global Heritage Invitational. So Tyler Bate against Axiom. Nathan Frazier against Akira Tozawa. Von Wagner. So match number 8. Von Wagner versus Bron Breakker. Let's go. Next week's NXT show feels like a premium live event, said Mitchell. It's big, isn't it? Seriously big. Exciting. Corbin's on commentary. Tiff tugging on Becky 2 belts cape, said Zoom Station. John said, if Tiff is Barbie, then Bex could be the Barbie man. Ken. I thought it was good. NXT is some of the best it's been lately, says Supreme Tie. I went to a WWE house show on December 29th in 2018 at the United Center, says Carmen Live. Hope you had a good time, dude. Here's Bron Breakker. Bron versus Von. Bron v. One. Bron v. Von. How long we got left? 8 minutes and then a little overrun. That's what we've got. Okay, Bron is in the ring. This should be a good main event. These two big boys going at it. This is a big opportunity for Von Wagner, actually. Bron Breakker has been there, done it. He's got the hype. He's got the T-shirt. It's a big opportunity for Von Wagner to show that he can hang at this level. Throwing in some big shots. Bron Breakker colliding into Von in the corner. Shoulder tackle. Von goes down. Von over by the ropes. Clothesline. Von goes to the outsides. Don't be scared, Vic. Bron being smashed face first. I wonder why they've not called Vic Joseph up. He's good lead. They could have called him up and done him with Corey Graves on one show and then done Michael Cole and Wade Barrett on the other. Could have called him up to Raw. Good. He's a good lead. I like Vic Joseph. So the table, commentary table being stripped, is grabbing the leg of Bron Breakker. Bron kicking out at Von. Von getting back into the ring. Shoulder tackle. Bron goes down. Bron goes down again. Looking for a clothesline. Both Von and Bron go over the top to the outsides. Let's go, says Bron. Ms. Cena, you can't see me interview was clever and it was great tongue-in-cheek, says Raheel. Who had a better career, Becky or Charlotte, says Gio. I think I would be going Becky, you know, if I was to pick. I think I'd be going Becky. I think Charlotte just keeps going away for a bit too long. Like, I feel like Becky's always there, always doing stuff on Raw. Feel like if you tune into Raw, there's a good chance you'll see Becky. Just like, I feel like Charlotte's just gone missing for extended periods of time. I would say personally Becky. Cena making a surprise appearance, got in the ring before the show ended, said Sir Killer. Says, my oldest son was born an albino. The youngest is covered in hair. The middle one says he's a homosexual. The other 7's gone. I don't know where, and I don't care. I just don't care. Billy Joe Favor. I have no idea what that comment was about. Zoom Station said, Meat Week continues. I know what that comment's about. What's your opinion on Jay being on Monday Night Raw? I like Jay a lot. I think he's a good superstar. I think he's credible. I think he's got a good connection with the fans. I do worry a bit for his promos sometimes. I think when he's doing a promo with his brother and they're doing that back and forth and they're really like firing it out and, you know, it builds to that welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. Like they have got that shtick down and it hits. When he's on his own, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's harder for him to get into that rhythm, you know? I feel like that, you know, where you're firing it in and they're like doing the call and response and it's like, you know, but for him on his own to get into that same rhythm, I think is a little difficult for him sometimes. I mean, like he opened up Raw and I don't know, again, I don't know if he gets himself a bit gassed after doing that hand gesture thing. But yeah, I mean, like it felt a little, not clunky, but you know, I didn't feel like he was commanding the space and, I mean, like really like firing it out like he does when he's with his brother. And I think there's just a little, if I was working there, I would definitely want to have a look at his promos. You don't need to look at anything in ring when it comes to Jey Uso. He's got a good look. Shame he's not a bit bigger, but you could say that for a lot of people, you know. But size-wise, I actually thought he had put on a bit of muscle when he came back. I think he's been hitting the gym. And I think he should continue to do that. I thought he was, like, looking quite stacked, jacked. I thought he was looking quite good. So look-wise, apart from maybe not being a bit taller, which you can't help, I think he looks pretty good. I think he's got a great connection with the fans. I think promo-wise, I think there's a bit of work that needs to be done there. I think he's so used to tag team promos and the rhythm of that I think there will be some work that needs to be done with solo promos. But yeah, I was looking at him and I was like, there is no reason as to why with the right creative, and it shouldn't even be that hard, that you can't get that guy to win Seth's World Championship, you know? Because of the bloodline, he feels like a big star. He feels like a big star. Like, yeah, he feels significant. He feels like a Sammy or a Kevin. And you could see, like, those winning a world title, so why couldn't Jey? The one that I didn't think he would win, and he hasn't, is Romans. I think if you get Romans, you're the face of the company. I don't see that for Jey. I don't see Jey being a Roman or a Cody. I'm not sure I see him at that level. But at a Sammy level, a Kevin Owens level, you know? That kind of just below that, you know, being good enough to win Seth's world title level. Drew McIntyre level. I can see him there. I can see him there. So yeah, I like him. I like him. Baron is on commentary. We've got a kendo stick by Bron. Mitchell said, anytime I see no DQ match, I treat it as a no Dairy Queen match. And I feel bad because they're really missing out on some good ice cream. We don't have Dairy Queen here. Or at least I don't think we do. Round the back, we've got Bron. Keeping Von grounded at the moment. So walloped him with some kendo sticks. Creed Brothers against Malik Blades and Idris Anofi next week. That's just been flashed up on screen. Big boot there by Von. And again, Bron picking up Von. Sit down powerbomb. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Shoulder up. Shoulder up by Bron. Oof. It's a big sit-down powerbomb. Why is it every hardcore match has to be more hardcore than the Terry Funk hardcore match? Said Crispy Chris. I don't know. I don't know why they feel the need to try and outdo that hardcore masterpiece. Knee strike to the side of the body there by Bron Breakker. Mitchell said, when you come to Florida, get a blizzard at Dairy Queen. Oh, that's the kind of tips I need. Actually, I feel like you could give me some really good tips, Mitchell. Some good Florida tips. Blizzard at Dairy Queen. Let's go. Bulldog by Bron. Straps are coming down. It's over. He's got a kendo stick, so he's got the Steiner recliner, and he's used it. Oh, man, it's in the mouth of Von. And he's powering it out of his mouth. He's trying to get back up to his feet. Von has powered up to his feet. He turns round. And now he's trying to put it in the mouth of Bron Breakker. He goes back into the corner. Clothesline. No joy. Another big clothesline there by Von. Von going back a little bit. Picked up on the shoulders of Bron. Oh, double knees. Gutbuster by Bron Breakker. Baron Corbin said he'll have trouble breathing now. Bron. Oh! Tries to spear Von. Von moves out the way. Bron spears a chair that's in between the middle and the top rope in the corner. We can't have long lefts. We can't have long lefts. Crowd are making a bit of noise, but I don't sense they're massively into this. Wrestling Daze said, get the giant turkey leg at Disney in Florida. I feel like I might have had one of those like ages ago. Years ago, but that's a good shout, that is. That's a good shout. Wailing away, look at that. Von, oh my God, he's just absolutely obliterated that kendo stick. Here we go. Oh, to the midsection. Do you know what? I think Von Wagner would make an excellent Isaac Yankem. Like a credible Isaac, 2023 Isaac Yankem. 1, 2. Oh, shoulder up by Bron. Man, that kendo stick got battered. Bron rolls out the ring. Von goes out after him. We are looking over. Move. He's going to look to put Bron into the bottom of that platform. So that platform underneath, there's like some really thin. The crowd like it. So he gets chucked into, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's just really thin plywood. Crowds, no way! Right, now he's got him over by the commentary table. Forearm strike there by Von. Knee strike coming back by Bron. Bron. Oh! Power bombed through the commentary table. Bron Breakker power bombed through the commentary table. A big NXT chant. Von gets Bron back into the ring. Gonna look to pick him up. He's got him on his shoulders. Bron lands on his feet. Low blow. Oh. See that come? I really thought Von was about to win there. But Bron hits a low blow. Looking, charging over, spear! 1, 2, 3. Bron beats Von. I'm not sure how I feel about Bron, like, coming back and powering his way to victory after being momentarily, like, just moments ago, powerbombed horrifically through a table. He looks absolutely fine now. So, chair shot. Now he's got the ring steps. Bron. Oh! Why did it go to black? I can't believe he did it. He did it. So they're making out he broke his arm, but they're not showing us. All you can hear is he did it. He did it. But it's just a black screen. Oh, was it his head? I thought it was his arm, but I think it's his head. That's an interesting ending. So I thought it was his arm that he put on the ring steps. It was his head. He picks up the other ring steps, slams them down, and as soon as it comes down, the screen just goes black. And all you can hear is like Baron Corbin going, I can't believe he just did it. I can't believe he just did it. Oh, show me then. I want to see his head all messed up. Blackout, lol. They blacked it out. He's dead. Oh, if he's, I don't want to see if he's dead. Wow. It's an interesting way to end the show. R.I.P. Von. Yep, R.I.P. Von. Von has a legit reason to fear for his life. The man has a family. It'll be on YouTube by fans in an hour or two, said KWMG. His head went smush. His head went smush. That's true. I'd like to see that footage. I bet a lot of people would like to see that footage. Logan said, did bang the steps on his head. I didn't see. Oh, no, none of us saw. They did it, and then it went to a black screen, so. I thought the Authors of Pain were going to debut tonight, says Elijah. I think this is the best discussion board, says Raheel. Raheel, shout out to you. I appreciate the kind words. I'm going to go onto the commentary thing and just get the poll set up. Get the poll set up for... Oh, can I do it? Yeah, I'll get the poll set up so that people can vote. Feel free to put your scores in the chat as to what you scored this show. So, do you think that this is a 5 out of 5? Do you think that it is a 4? Do you think that it is a 3? Do you think that it was just okay? Or did you think it was bad? What did you score NXT? Boom. That's up. Mr. Stone was in fear for his life. Very good. I am a big fan of a fear for your life joke. Look, I thought, for me personally, I thought tonight was fine. I don't know what it was. Like, it felt like people just weren't massively into that main event. Like, the crowd were a bit quiet. And, yeah, I sort of felt like there was a lot of... Tonight, to me, felt a little bit like quantity over quality. I think we had a lot of matches, but I think I'd rather have less matches and actually build them up and have some drama. And there was still some good moments in ring, you know? There was still some good moments in the Butch Axiom match. Some good moments in the main event. There was some decent moments. I really enjoyed the Dragunov match, you know? But I don't know that anything was like, yeah, I need to go back and rewatch that type level, you know? For me, I think that might be what was missing. We got a lot of matches, but I don't know that we got a lot of like really good, crazy action. Like nothing here that's going to rival Becky and Trish. Let's put it that way. There's nothing here that's going to rival Danielson and Ricky Starks. But, you know, lots of storyline development, which is always welcome. Nothing in ring that was bad or offensive. I mean, I think it's a solid offering. I think it's solid. But I don't know that we got to, like, any exceptional levels. The black screen at the end is a bit different. I don't mind that. It creates a bit of intrigue. I mean, I'm sat here and I want to see. And I'd imagine if I'm sat here wanting to see what happened, that a lot of other people will be sat there wanting to see what happens. And they already know that this is scripted. And they already know that he's going to have, like, done that and he will just have tapped Von Wagner's head, right? I already know nothing is going to have happened. But it doesn't stop me from still wanting to see it. So part of me thinks, like, oh, blacking out at the end, that's a bit cringe. Like, that's a bit, oh, what you done that for? But then part of me thinks, well, yeah, it does make me want to see it. And I suppose in a way it's just a different way of trying to make something seem more brutal than maybe the reality of it was. So I sort of look at it and go, yeah, I can see sort of both sides a bit on this. I could understand people going, oh, that's cheap. That's cheap. But then I could also see people arguing, well, actually, it's, you know, quite clever because you can make out that it was really brutal, but we just couldn't see it. And, you know, it might be now we can really do some stuff with Von in hospital. Don't forget as well, you know, Von has just spent all this time really traumatized by his youth and the surgery that he had to his head and all of that stuff, you know, as a kid. Obviously, we know that he went through some procedures and everything. And now Bron has just done this to him. So, like, is he going to go back to hospital? Is he going to need to have surgery? Like, how's this going to play into his story? How long is he going to be out for? There's quite a few talking points that have come out of it, in all fairness. There's quite a few talking points that have come out of it. But it is one that I think could divide opinion. I would not be surprised to see people, like, down on it. But equally, I think there'll be plenty of people that are like, that was different. I'm into that. I think that will be one that divides opinion. Hawkins Jr. said, I've stayed at a 7. Becky Trish was 10 out of 10. Anyone could have a strap match versus Starks. I thought it was a waste of Danielson, says, huh? Ray said, HBK does not condone that type of head smashing violence. Was it a way to write off Von, said Alex Bliss Game? Maybe. Because he was part of the draft. I believe. I think he was a free agent. I think he was drafted to be a free agent. So maybe they're thinking this is it. We're done with him in NXT. Maybe. Mitchell said, I'm at a 6'7", 725 range. I've really started enjoying NXT. Well, I would be about 6.5, I think. I think I would still be down in the lower end. I think that, as I said, I feel like there's a lot that's happened, but I don't think there's much that's really... If this was a show that you'd missed, I still feel like the biggest news is Becky, and that was within the first 8 minutes of the show. And then, like, the rest of the show that follows is solids. It's fine. Not down on it at all. But I really think next week's the week you want to be watching. Next week is the week. It feels like there's a lot here to set up next week, you know? So, yeah, next week's the one that I'm pretty hyped about, so... And with that being said, I need to run away because I need to do videos and whatever. So appreciate the support. You can get voting on the scores. I'll do the reacting to the ups and downs tomorrow, and we'll talk about scores in that video. I'm going to just try and start doing that as like a regular thing. So we'll do that. I will get that little short recap of what happened tonight video out as well. In a bit. Takes a bit of time to make, but that'll be out in a few hours, and that's it. That is it. Appreciate people's support stopping by. We are back tomorrow for AEW Dynamite. The show rumbles along, and obviously we'll see what gets said on Dynamite. I don't expect there to be any other announcements about CM Punk or Tony or the incident or whatever. I think, if anything, AEW is going to have to start looking towards the future. But in all fairness, I suppose that might be a bit more Collision than Dynamite. Dynamite, I think it kind of knows where it is, what it's doing. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Dynamite can provide. But, yeah, awesome. Appreciate the support. And hopefully see you again next time. Bye for now.